want to talk about Pterodáctilo?
Okay, so Pterodáctilo is the Pterodáctilo is the blog and magazine of the Spanish department. The three of us have been editing entries for the blog for a few months now. And well, we do this get together every semester, with a few tamales, and have some poets read something for all of us. So thank you for being here.
There's two raffles going on. Both are free raffles. The first one, I've been handing out tickets. Let me know if you want a ticket. It's to get a signed copy by both Nacho and Mauricio, who are both going to be reading tonight. They're both in this great anthology called The Wandering Songs, Central American Writing in the United States. So if you want a free copy, there's also copies for purchase, which would be great. Also, if there's a mailing list, an email list for Malvern, they said if you put your email on that, at the end of the month they're doing a raffle for a free t-shirt. So if you like free t-shirts, you should do that. First we're going to have Nico come out, who's going to play some guitar for us. And please enjoy. We have three other poets that we'll announce later. And please support this great bookstore that is so nice enough to have us here. And and enjoy your time. So before I introduce the next poet, I want to mention that Malvern has changed their raffle a little bit. So if you put your name on the email list, you'll get someone will get a shirt at the end of the night, not the end of the month. So now you guys have to put your name on the list. Our first poet of the night is Mauricio Novoa. We're super lucky to have him here. He's originally from the DC area, now lives down here in Texas. He is also featured in the Wandering Song anthology that we're raffling off tonight and that you can buy over there. So thank you so much to Mauricio for being here, and here he is.
How's everyone doing? Great, thank you guys for having me. I'm going to read 5 poems. 2 of them are in the book and 3 of them are some new ones. So I'm just going to get into it. Great. The first one is called Jays. I couldn't do Payless anymore. No more Kmart, Target, or anywhere else selling cheap-ass, knockoff, off-brand, looks like mama sewed together shoes. When everyone else rocked the Air Force Ones, I rolled in my white $20 shacks that the upper echelon in the hallways of Parkland Middle School always stepped on, because they weren't shit anyways. When I saw those red, black, and white Air Jordans on the bargain rack for $80 in my junior year of college, I had to have them. I walked through Glenmont, still JCPenney bargain bin fly, feeling nice but still bottom dollar, but with my J's on, I could drift through the same sidewalks Cuz stood on without his fiends asking me for $1 for a McDouble, then laughing because they could tell I was hungry as they were. I spent $80 so I could feel like a baller, and I was so elated a 10-foot hoop no longer seemed out of my reach. My brother worked 30 plus hours a week for minimum wage, dropped out of high school so he could go full-time at the shoe department, and every weekend he'd walk to Foot Locker and drop $120 and $200 on some new Foamposites, Jordans, or anything else the North Face, Levi Jean, big money, small bank account teens wore. He'd wait on the new bread 11s that everyone saved their dough to buy, that 20 people got stabbed for at the midnight release. This next one's called Dandelion Graves. Kids of the forgotten refugees soy the seeds, on the run from a barrel of a gun, on their knees, ducking immigration until they're stationed as far as DC or LA or the Bay. That was back in Reagan's 80s when the numbers shot up like a fiend, crack rock being steamed in the apartment down the hallway of my mama's babies. But that wasn't the home that my parents made for me. Georgia Avenue, Urbana, and Lily White Montgomery, except the Glenmont section was brown as abuela's coffee, and the smell of asphalt would never wash off papi. A good day was a meal that wasn't frijoles and cheese, so my dreams were drenched in leftover Chinese. But pull yourself and you'll succeed is the bullshit they would feed, so everyone drank piss until they couldn't see. Cause how's a kid like me supposed to think when it's engraved that the only future that awaits is a dandelion grave? This next one is called Jailhouse Library. They gave the homie 7 years when the dog sniffed a trunk full of the people's history of the United States. Battering rams crashed the frame of the neighbor's door, and they rushed the basement, confiscate from under lamps pounds of a light in the attic. Automatic, stop and frisk, strange hands in the most intimate part of a shaking body, and maybe a club to the mouth for anyone who dares to openly carry the fire next time. Police in riot gear hold hands with legislators and clergymen as if they're about to sing "We Shall Overcome," filling a pool with spit from their vein-engorging yelling and sweat from fear of the pre-convicted felons they cuffed to the bottom of the pool, and they watched us drown. This one is called For Tupac. In the back of a classroom, there's a notebook full of your words. No notes since the tests are pre-graded anyways. Your face is the t-shirts with Jesus is the gold chains, and I mirrored your prayer hands to find the faith I can no longer see in a ghost. Words pay like loan agencies, and you paid the fee with 25 years, no refunds. But in the back speaker of an 02 Honda in 2016, me against the world is the gospel of a mobile steel steeple, the plan of a trip into hell with no map. The love letter to my mama is written in your verse. The rhythms of my tears are played to your instrumentals. The scars America refuses to show are the paints of your murals. You once said, long live the rose that grew from concrete, but I also have been told that roses only grow in bushes, so understand nobody but nobody can make it out here alone, and you are for many a rose on their bush. Appreciate it. And this last one is called Birthday. The boy takes a break from playing with all his little amigos and primos so the photographer can freeze the first day of his 6th year. To cope with the high demands of his celebrity, he rewards himself with a juice pouch, sweating with the remains of the ice cubes that held it before the boy made it his co-star for the still. Some of the juice drips down to his jorts, but they'll dry once he goes back to running around in his chanclas in the apple orchard his parents walked under the Adams County sun from tree to tree, reaching for every ripe Macintosh or Red Delicious to fill their buckets because their wages are measured in bushels. All those apples sit watching the party they paid for, shaded in their crates as the guests sweat from the games of tag, and the boys' parents sweat from the tinga steaming from the silver olla sweating orange. They watch everyone enjoy the afternoon off before they clock into their outdoor office, 100 paces from their beds. Thank you.
So I'd like to invite our next poet, which is our residencia poet, nuestro poeta en residencia. Vamos a darle un aplauso a Ignacio Carvajal.
Pues muchas gracias a todos por estar. Una de las personas a la que la antología está dedicada es Roque Dalton. Entonces empecemos con Dalton. Tal vez uno cliché, tal vez uno gastado, pero uno que siempre me llega a mí. Yo, como tú, amo el amor, la vida, el dulce encanto de las cosas, el paisaje celeste de los días de enero. También mi sangre bulle y río por los ojos que han conocido el brote de las lágrimas. Creo que el mundo es bello, que la poesía es como el pan de todos y que mis venas no terminan en mí, sino en la sangre unánime de los que luchan por la vida, el amor, las cosas, el paisaje y el pan, la poesía de todos. Roque Dalton. Roque Dalton. So, yeah, it's been a fucked up week. It's good to be here with y'all. See familiar faces, not so familiar faces. This is super exciting. So thank you, Malvern. Some of us are making it out. So right now we have two very recent doctors in the house. We have Stephanie Malak. Stephanie Malak. She's been a doctor for a whole year, but she just got a new job, which is also awesome. Mr. Sam Cannon just got a doctor. Y el grande Alejandro Flores, también felicidades. So, I'm going to read a couple poems in Spanish and then a couple poems in English. Yeah. And we'll clap at the end, so to save time. Remedios. Una palangana bajo la gotera, una curita en la rodilla, frenillos, masking tape, un par de clavos, muletas, sedazo a la ventana, un taco de servilletas para la pata de la mesa, un trago, algo que te distraiga, pretensiones de plenitud, ignorar la culpa, una luna llena, un puño en el pecho, un párpado sobre el ojo y el aliento del sueño en los pulmones. Yo formo parte de un taller literario en Costa Rica que se llama Taller Literario Don Chico y es en honor a Francisco Zúñiga, un escritor costarricense que su frase célebre siempre fue: si la poesía no sirve para ser amigos, entonces ¿para qué carajo sirve? So this writer from Costa Rica, that workshop that I'm part of down there, is named after. He used to say, if poetry isn't good for making friends, then what the hell is it good for? So, algunos de los poemas que voy a leer son pues dedicados a personas. Este es un medio plagio de un mensaje de texto que me mandó mi hermana un día, entonces los primeros versos son eso. Hoy me sentí el ojo izquierdo raro todo el día y dije, tengo que cambiarme de lentes de contacto, ya están muy sucios. Llego a la casa a quitármelos y me percato de que no tenía el lente en el ojo izquierdo, solo una bandada de pájaros azules con hojitas de albahaca en el pico, cada uno con su carga de recuerdos amontonada en la espalda, incluidas unas fotos de hace años, de cuando estábamos pequeñas, que mi hermana llevaba varias semanas buscando. Este siguiente, a mí no me gustan los títulos, pero este se le puso un título: Tras amanecer en Ishimuleu. Ishimuleu es el nombre quiché y varios otros idiomas mayas de Guatemala, entonces es un poema escrito en Guatemala. Tiene un par de frases en quiché, no voy a traducirlo todo, pero las últimas frases que cierran el poema Maltios Checahuá es lo que se dice al sentarse a la mesa a comer. Significa gracias por nuestra comida, gracias por la comida. Todo es un abrir y cerrar de tierra, una caída larga pasiguán. Despertamos en los brazos de una madre grande, de una madre uleu, de una madre tiempo, que a veces es despiadada, tan despiadada como amable ha sido cuando nos ha buscado el gozo, la comida, el amor escondido entre la milpa, la respuesta terrible, el agua. En la mañana tiene la boca abierta, espera que caigamos para masticarnos, para triturar nuestro dolor y nuestros huesos, la piedad más grande, la piedra más negra, Lenima Lopopal. Este hamac es una cadena interminable de volcanes, un Pumatzlebej, un Palam de Pig, se sacude con el Kep Rakán y hasta las nubes tiemblan, con el susurro de lluvia, de cosecha promesa, de hul inesperado, de miedo y de semilla. Bendita la interminable labor del condenado al calvario paraíso de este mundo, bendito el gozo refulgente de los hijos, el pavor fulminante de su muerte, bendito el alcohol y el balance, cutichle tzamle cutichle hombre, cutijó, todo se come, todo sabe algo y se ingiere. Bendita el hambre, bendita la sed, benditas las ganas de plantarnos y esparcirnos, de existir en el ciclo eterno de la vida por un pequeño instante. Bendita la llama que podamos ser, bendita nuestra cosecha, la cosecha que somos. Bendita la divina garganta que ha de tragarnos, bendito el Maltioshinik que pronuncie, bendito el momento en que los dioses digan Maltios Checahuá y seamos nosotros. Después de haber vivido y sufrido, después de haber llorado y clamado, después de haber visto nuestra carne y la carne del prójimo arder en el deseo y en el dolor, en el terror y el gozo, después de haber cumplido con las faenas otorgadas, los que nos asentemos en su estómago, les quitemos el hambre, Maltios Checahuá, Quechá, Maltios Checahuá. So those are Spanish poems, and yes, I'll continue. Yes, so one of those people that is an important friend is, some of us know him. He was in our program and he's teaching elsewhere now, but he always tells me we never do anything by ourselves. There's so many people that always surround us and always have something of credit in the things that we do. And so this is for René Carrasco. Amigo, en el invierno vive toda la furia en potencia, enredada en la falta de cordura, en la falta ausente, en el frío de la carne domada, del animal que es uno, desquiciado y hambriento. In Boston, you can see the tower commemorating Bunker Hill by walking the Freedom Trail and sing rancheras with Salvadorians in a Mexican restaurant in the span of 24 hours. In the meantime, you realize further and once more that we would be nothing without our brothers. This is I've been trying to write long poems because my poems are always short. You're all like, no, not a long poem, but it's an excerpt from a long poem. Allow this fire to burn, perched upon the ageless wisdom, two larger logs parallel, a mountain of kindling, a tunnel full of the oxygen, the prayer of a willing match. Allow us to huddle around it by the dark mirror ponds of the Adirondacks, by the man-made lakes of Kansas, by the refuge of Ocean City, Maryland, its quietude a sanctuary from the Virginia Beach wretchedness. Allow for it to burn well into the night and keep at bay the coyotes and the nightmares. Allow the park ranger never to find our booze. Allow the rock roof of our shelter to be blessed by tongues of hope. Allow them to burn holes into our decade-old t-shirts. Allow our frozen toes to feel its love. Allow for the ashes to remain in the morning like a premonition, like a great gray roadmap toward the next destination. Allow the road to remain a prayer for the love of God. Let the road remain a prayer. Allow us to face it hungry and hungover, sunflower seeds and cigarettes for breakfast. Allow us on the road from El Paso to see the Mexico mountains and the Texas hills, an ageless proof to the futility of human borders. Allow for the winding highways of West Virginia to remain wet and sunbathed, for the Louisiana backroads to necessitate ferries, for its quick stops to serve to-go daiquiris from 9 o'clock in the morning. Allow eastern Colorado and western Kansas, those fuckhole middle of nowheres, to keep some semblance of promise for escape and laughter. Allow for the Mississippi to hold us in its banks up in Wisconsin, to be a ceremony upon leaving St. Louis, to carry those barges in New Orleans into the thirsty Atlantic. Allow us to drive for days through Texas, thinking of the old cowboys and the Indians that galloped after taking their horses, of the tracking and resting, of the smoke trails and bullets, of the lack of water, of its necessity. Allow us to never forget that south of the Rio Bravo, a whole rhizome of roads spreads out, mangled and knotted up because we never learned its languages. Allow for the gods of the road to remain omnipotent, for the flick of their brow to sweep us into a tornado, into a rock-hard storm, into the barren. Allow the gods of the road to be our guardians, our executioners. Allow them to remain those to whom we owe our lives and our carnage. Allow for our prayers to forever reach them. Clap at the end. Clap at the end. Plegaria number 2. Mother, I need to cry and I am unable. Mother, I have not gone to see you in oh so many days. I promise I have always known this world is not big enough of a feline, dark enough of a cave, sharp enough of a knife to scare me, to make me run away. Mother, Mother, I want you to hold me and tell me that you're happy, that there's not been a single word that's ever hurt you, that there's not been a single moment when you doubted, that never once you thought about forgetting. Let us sit at the table, Mother, and speak of this world and all its beauty. Tell me you never feared. Please tell me there's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to be scared of. Tell me you see God's face and He seems happy, satisfied with all of our behavior. Tell me He regrets not breathing upon us a life, a choice, a tongue, a pair of hands. Pray with me, Mother. Pray for the forgiveness that we need not, for we're good people, we're good people, we're good people, we're good people. Pray for benevolence and grace. In you, I've always seen it. suspended above your brow, shimmering steady. Pray that I get them too. Ask for me, Mother. Tell me that they exist and that we're able. Watch me for the last time, Ma, watch me. Watch me. I can run very fast and sing eternal. I can speak and can walk. I can love, Mother. Tell me I am like you, Ma, unwavering, immortal, discerning, real. You are real. You are real. You are real. Please tell me, Ma, that you are real, that not once in this world they've spoken for you, never twisted your arm into any choices. Tell me that if I do just as you taught me, you will be proud of me. I'll go to heaven. Tell me there is a heaven, Ma. Tell me there is one. Remind me it is not to hell that I am headed. That place is not for us, it's for the guilty, the ones responsible for the things that never happened to you. It never happened to you. It never happened to you. So I have 3 more. And this one is in the anthology. So thank you, Malvern, because they got mad copies of the anthology. So it's really cool. There's a lot of works on there. There's only 1 poem of mine, so there's a lot of other shit to read. This is from the anthology. Among the daily quiet of the sidewalks, I have begun to hear a low, low murmur, a tremor imperceptible. It has a scent. I pick it up sometimes when I am falling or thinking about punishment, about damnation. I imagine that it tastes like water from the caños, like a drop of aguardiente that's been hiding underground for decades. It smells, I sometimes think, like matches, not like a single match or like those booklets they give out at drinking establishment, like whole boxes of matches. Matches made of actual timber, whittled down and shaped, not cardboard ones, burning somewhere far away over a hill or a basurero, mixing with the sea and all the storms. But that I hear it is now for me most surprising, for I never did before, never imagined that something so seemingly large could go unnoticed by so many people. I hear it at night, and when I'm dreaming, I hear it in the morn. It sounds like pain, but I am somehow able to tell that this pain comes seeking. It seems to whisper for the evildoers. I hear it louder every time, above the vibrating metal of the fences, above the names mistaken, above the clinks of coins, above the scribbling of loss on nice clean paper, above the trudge, above the train, above the bullets. I'm on my way, it says, and it sounds angry. The time is near, it says. Ya casi llego. Plegaria number 17. Blessed is the one who fights the good battle, the one who stumbles but does not fall. Blessed are you, brothers and sisters of mine, for treading unafraid among this kingdom of dust. I have seen the whirlwinds of this world. They came vicious, furiously, and twisted me around in their great clouds. And I have seen the depths of my insides, how easy to drown in ourselves. There must be, at all times, maintained a mightiness. The knowledge of our mind and of our body, the undeniable physical proof of our existence. Move forward with the days and with the hours. We have no time to waste. It ever latents. It ever runs from the grasp of our fingertips, that one grace of flesh, that holy sight. Keep your eyes open. They were meant to see what lies ahead. What lies elsewhere is merely parenthetical. There are objects to be seized, words to be spoken. In the burning center of community, there is a God of sorts, a moving force, a field of drops of rain, of water that hits the stone at some precise angle. It is a heavy burden to be sedentary, but water that moves, moves for always. Move for always. And I'll finish with this one. This one is new shit. Plegaria number 11. And so, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for sharing. This one's for y'all. There are things in this world that against our better judgment and intentions become inevitable. The wolf will lick the blade in the ground. The bird will eat the cigarette butt, push its chick out of the nest where it flies, or we will take the happy pill, break down, recede into our cave, or sit at the table con los ladrones. We'll kick and bite, we'll punch, regret. Our lungs and guts know about the hardness of our choices. May we never cease to be reminded that though there is a love poison, there is also, in this whirlwind of a world, a love remedy. Thank you. Who happens to be a friend of mine. Friend? Cool. I met Jim Trainer at one of those like dark and kind of sad poetry readings where you're like, I hope some cool people are reading. And so I met him, and his name is Jim Trainer. He's from what's this place? What's the city? What's this place? Philadelphia. He's from Philadelphia. Philly, right?
Philly.
Yeah. So he's from Philadelphia. He lives down here in Austin. He's a good man. He's a good writer. If you haven't, check out Pterodáctilo. I wrote a little note about him there. And he has a weekly blog where he talks about real shit most of the time, going for the throat. You can find him. He also is the head and sole proprietor of Yellow Lark Press, which is a self-publishing press that he runs and through which he has published All in the Wind, which is his latest one, September. What's the first one?
Well, that's actually Farewell to Armor, but that's on a different publisher.
Farewell to Armor is a different publishing. All of those, are all of those over there?
They're all over there.
Yeah, so they're all over there. So go talk to the motherfucker, talk to him about his book, buy a couple of them, okay? I'm glad that we got to read together. I'm glad that I get to introduce you, and I'm glad that you get to share your poetry with all these wonderful people. So Jim Trainer.
Trouble's the difference between you and me, brother. Trouble's the reason my friends laugh harder. First freeze in a decade on the loading dock in a metal tee. 59 tomahawks out of nowhere split your sky like a cleft palate. Trouble's a roaring impermanence. Trouble's what's needed for anything to begin. Trouble's waiting in the seed. Trouble's come to take down the flower. There's trouble in the eyes of all my lovers. Trouble in thinking that they ever could be. Do your bidding. Yell down the centuries. Instigate. Trouble's dying in the fall and rising in the spring. Trouble's in the colors of the street that you gotta walk if you wanna know. Trouble's written many poems like this one and done a much better job. Ask Reginald Dwayne Betts or Lamont Steptoe. And Trouble's ended them all, just like this. I'm really happy to be here. I'd like to thank Pterodáctilo for having me, my brother Ignacio. Great to read with you, Mauricio. And my man, that was incredible, guitar playing. So I'm going to read you some poetry, and maybe I'll tell you a story too. Yeah, let me tell you a story. The last time I was on this stage, I told the story about getting in a fight with 5 10-year-old black boys while waiting in line at the Salt and Pepper 2, 47th and Chester Avenue in West Philadelphia when I was 26. My intention with the story was to try and reconcile my hard scrabble beginnings on the streets of Philadelphia with the paradise we all live in now. And in my Piscean way, I was both reviling and revering the city that shoves you back, Philadelphia. My story was also a call to arms. I owe a great debt of gratitude to what we punk rockers used to call Hostile City. And to punk rock, that matter, for giving me my gumption, my balls, the reason. As a punk rocker and a Philadelphian, I know that you gotta come up here and you gotta bleed. You gotta come up here and give us your heart. It's that important. It's as important as death itself, which is a line I cribbed from Bruce Springsteen's keynote address to South by Southwest in 2012. I highly recommend. It's rock and roll gospel coming from the mouth of an East Coast paisan like me. You got to come up here. You got to give us your heart. So my story that day, was aforementioned reconciliation between these two worlds. Coming from a place where someone's always got your back as long as you got theirs, compared to living in a place where nothing is wrong. The Velvet Rut, right? Austin, Texas. What Billy Milano calls the Pearl of the South. Where the living's easy and it's easy to feel like you don't have any homeboys, any solids, any blood. So my story was a call to arms. And in the crowd that day, right here at Malvern Books, was the professor, Papa Joe Brundage, co-host of Co-op Radio's Writing on the Air, and host of Chillin' the Most, and who I enjoy a symmetry of honesty with. Our conversations reach deep Philadelphia levels. Also in the crowd that day was my brother from out of nowhere, Ignacio, talking about motherfuckers gotta be real, and how his heart rejoices when he reads my work. Also in the crowd that day was America. I was on America's Facebook page, and out of all the things that story was about, those kids in the Korean 40 store, the ethos of being a punk rocker and performer and giving you my heart, of all the things to take from that story, America took that I was somehow a pussy for letting 10-year-old kids run me out of town. That I have a small dick. Sorry, I know there's kids here, but it's too late now. And regardless of how small or quite magnificent my cock actually is. Amen. America's cock was better, right? America's cock was bigger. It was the mother of all cocks. 200 tons, America's cock weighs. It cost us $300 million to develop America's cock and another $16 million to manufacture it. That's $16 million dropped on the heads of 700 people in a cave. Thank you. Usually at that point in the story I say, thank you for having me, but I already said that. I should have just said it, right? Thank you for having me. I'm going to read you some poetry, and then we can all get the F out of here. This is from All in the Wind, which is my latest collection for sale over here. Self-published, Yellow Art Press, as Ignacio mentioned. All in the Wind, rejected, neglected, and accepted work, written between 2009 and 2016. Many of these poems have appeared in the lit mags. Many have been rejected, much more have been rejected, and some have just been sitting around. So this has actually appeared in the Fredericksburg Literary and Art Review. Joe Brundage titled this one, Slipshod Life. It hit the fan, it blew apart. Some gone forever, some might make it back. We'll smoke cigars by the roses neath the cypress and laugh at this slipshod life. Class rivals beauty, and she had both. I found her heart following the map of her scars, and I'll be glad to have known and proud to have loved her for one triumphant summer in this slipshod life. Consensus is a disease. The crowd is strangely masked. We worship fear, and our shadows eclipse our gods. But tomorrow comes brazen, like the best surprise, gifting the thief with this slipshod life. Rains washed out the lilies. I'm soaked and bumbling in a dead language to no one, and the water's getting in. The fifth wall is rising and the radio's jammed, but without you, my address would be the wind, blown away by this slipshod life. So you know I'm kind of an old guy, right? I think I can offer you advice, and oh, I wasn't going to do that. I'd like to offer you advice, and I will touch back on this. My advice to you is to just do it. Make memories. They're hard. If you have a horrible time, you're still making memories. And that's a preface to the poem after this one. This one is called "We Don't Second Guess Police Officers," which is a quote from Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Timothy McGinty. That the same boy who suckled at his mother and was coddled rose through the ranks of school and law and became the man up there on the podium, telling you that in this case it's all right to kill. And the religion as silent as the last time, and the press who do nothing but parrot the specific and casual appropriation of another's life. The violence of our evolution stops there, with him, at the ego and its dark mutations. The curtain slowly lowering on our beautiful potential, our miraculous biology, the cell splitting into two, never back to one, never back to one. I used to be a tour driver. I drove metal bands on their tours. And, you know, my little footnote about just doing it. I've had some good times out on the road. I've had some horrible times too. You know, like 35 days in a row of something horrible happening every day for 35 days in a row. But I've written more poems about being a tour driver than it's quickly catching up to poetry about a woman. And this is tour driver number 5. I've been to every state in the lower 48 barring South Dakota, and there's nothing like the feeling of leaving. Next day checkout, I'd always leave my hotel room door open to the road. Not just so the guys could have access to me and the keys, but to get some of that high, white air. I only remember leaving while the sun was shining, which is no trick of memory but the magic of the road. Fortune can find you as long as you keep moving. Tamara at a bus stop in Vancouver, after the bars closed, the guys loading out, and me drinking my first cup of coffee at 2 a.m., etched on the acetate of my mind. Missoula in late fall with Joanna Newsom. Nemec in Montreal with the grays of winter deepening like cooling solder. And clear across Canada in February. Never been so happy to be in warm California. You can see what's coming on the road. Your roof is the sky, and you never look back. And as hard as tour can be, square life approaching at the end of tour was always worse. Having to come home and talk to your friends and family, your significant other, there was no language for it. The whirling chaos, boring through a moving center. Here today, gone later today, seeing life eye to eye. And the faces of all the people there, tumbling, tearing, always arriving, riding till the moment's gone. Thank you very much. Are you all still with me? Am I good up there? You all still with me? Yeah, I'll keep reading until you kick me out. This is for Ignacio. It's from Farewell to Armor. And it's called Shards. The hard part of survival, the rub, is the nagging reminder of what you had to do to get away. Almost would have been better to die, to not get away. Almost. Thank you. You're very kind. This is September. This is my second collection of poetry. I was lucky enough to poster press these myself. bound the books. We did a shitty job with this one. Bound them and cut them at the Independent Publishing Resource Center up in Portland, Oregon. I just found out there's another comparable full-stop publishing house here in Austin, so that's where I'm going for my next one. I'm fortunate that I've been able to write about writing and write about being a writer. Ignacio mentioned my blog. A lot of my blog is like, I don't know what I'm going to write about this week. Here I am. And I really, I implore you to start a blog, to become the character in your own story. I'm telling you, you will never run out of material. You will never have writer's block. It's that narcissistic, but inexhaustible just the same. And you know, poetry is the leap. Poetry is the vision, if not the execution. This is Challenge. This appeared in the Bookends Review out of Philadelphia. This poetry has been my life's challenge, and I rose to it every time. This poetry, the arena I boldly entered, and I'm fighting still. I'm not quite sure I've imagined locked doors of academia and their 1,000 reasons to do something else with my life, but I owe it all to poetry. It was my access to the inner life, lit my smoke in front of the firing squad of time, gave the muse a fire escape she could climb in just an overcoat and heels. It gave me the words to rent law, and it drove the characters to collide. This clacking of keys into big dumb night, tumblers catching on a lockbox of heart, containing all the hunger, the lightning, the way. Thanks, I just have a few more. I don't have a title for my next collection. It'll be out next December. It's going to be an angry one. This is called Lover. It began with heartburn, as inane as that sounds, waking me in the night with a red acidic rush. Other inane symptoms followed, getting flush, red in the ears and nose for long periods of time, and when the fever of rage was at its worst, blurred vision. My emotionality was overwrought. The streets swam and I lurched forward with burning flesh and vision. Lights of the city simmered bright and audibly with an incessant ringing that unnerved me. The air became viscous, languid, with the tang of blood. It took 2 years of sobriety for my anger to find me, and just like that, I knew I'd never need an alarm, never need an excuse, never need to know what day or country. I'm a marked man now that it's found me again. I'm new, young again. Now that rage has fell in love with me, the only thing that matters is this love. My body, the sun, closing the distance between, all else is burning. This is for Bevan. Bevan, this is for you. Surrender only to love. Shining out from the eye of the sun is the triumph of burning. The steady victory of days is a hold and climb. We chose this life to surrender to them in heaven and rival them in hell. Because death will keep its promise. Love is my word. Rest is my battle. Surrender only to love. Having me. Malvern Books, as always. I love what this place has become. It's become a community. And thank all of you. It's been great. It really has. I'm going to leave you with this. This was appeared in Poetry Inc.'s 20th anniversary issue a couple years ago out of Philly. It's called Write, R-I-T-E. Clothes flapping on the line, roses roiling in water, ants have made an empire of the puddle of champagne beneath the table. Bells ring out on the coast where the waves come in to sink the veranda. The trees are heavy with yellow coins of eyes, and dusk is slowly steeping to black. The night always brings you back with a pain, rivaled only when the day takes you again. Thank you. Say hi. Thanks.
Thank you so much to Jim and to Nacho.
Thank you.